Naval battles are more than just fights at sea. They've shaped the course of empires, decided the fate of nations, and altered history itself. From ancient Greece to World War II, the world's greatest naval powers have clashed in epic struggles for supremacy. Today, we're counting down the 10 most important naval battles in history. But before we dive in, what do you think is the greatest naval battle of all time? Let us know in the comments below. Now, let's begin. We begin in ancient Greece, where one of the most important battles in Western history took place, the Battle of Salamis. After the Persian king Xerxes invaded Greece, the Greek city-states were on the brink of destruction. Their last hope was a naval battle. Themistocles, the Greek commander, devised a cunning plan. He lured the enormous Persian fleet into the narrow straits of Salamis, where their numbers would work against them. The confined space neutralized the Persians' advantage in numbers, allowing the smaller, more maneuverable Greek ships to strike effectively. The Greeks destroyed much of the Persian fleet, forcing Xerxes to retreat. This battle wasn't just a military victory. It preserved the independence of Greece and safeguarded the development of Western civilization. Imagine what the world would be like if Xerxes had succeeded. Next, we move to 31 BC to the Battle of Actium, a decisive clash that would determine the fate of the Roman world. Mark Antony and Cleopatra faced Octavian, the future Augustus. This wasn't just a naval battle, it was a fight for the future of Rome. Antony's fleet, bolstered by Cleopatra's ships, was formidable. But Octavian's fleet, led by the brilliant Admiral Agrippa, was strategically superior. Using advanced tactics and maneuvering, Octavian's forces outflanked and overwhelmed Antony's ships. Antony and Cleopatra fled the battle, and within a year, both would be dead. The Battle of Actium ended the Roman Republic and marked the dawn of the Roman Empire, with Octavian becoming its first emperor, Augustus. Rome's dominance at sea was crucial to its success, and Actium proved how naval power could determine the fate of entire empires. Jumping ahead to the Middle Ages, we arrive at the Battle of Sluys in 1340. The 100 Years' War between England and France was just beginning, and control of the English Channel was vital for both sides. King Edward III of England faced a much larger French fleet, and the odds were against him. However, Edward was not one to back down. His fleet used superior positioning and the longbowmen, England's secret weapon. The result? A devastating defeat for the French, with most of their fleet destroyed or captured. This gave the English control of the Channel, allowing them to land troops in France and maintain the fight for decades to come. Sluys proved that naval dominance could change the tide of war, even when outnumbered. Next, we move to the Mediterranean and the Battle of Lepanto in 1571. At this time, the Ottoman Empire was expanding its power, threatening Europe. The Christian Holy League, led by Spain, Venice, and the Papal States, formed an alliance to stop them. In the largest naval battle since antiquity, over 400 ships clashed near the Gulf of Patras. The Holy League's victory was decisive, crushing the Ottoman fleet. This battle marked the end of Ottoman naval dominance in the Mediterranean and was a major blow to their expansion plans. It was also the last major engagement fought with oar-powered ships, signaling the end of an era in naval warfare. Lepanto became a symbol of Christian resistance to Ottoman expansion, celebrated in art, literature, and history. Just 17 years later, Europe witnessed Another dramatic naval clash, the Spanish Armada of 1588. King Philip II of Spain sent his invincible armada to invade England, intending to overthrow Queen Elizabeth I. But things didn't go as planned. The smaller, more agile English ships harassed the Spanish fleet using innovative tactics such as fire ships, essentially floating bombs. The weather played a key role, with storms scattering the Spanish fleet while the English attacked relentlessly. In the end, more than half of the Armada was destroyed or captured. This failure marked the decline of Spanish naval power and the beginning of England's rise as a global maritime empire. The defeat of the Armada was celebrated as a divine victory and paved the way for England's later dominance of the seas. Now we move to 1805 and the legendary Battle of Trafalgar, one of the most famous naval engagements in history. Napoleon Bonaparte was at the height of his power, and his fleet, in alliance with Spain, sought to challenge Britain's naval supremacy. But they hadn't counted on Admiral Horatio Nelson. At Trafalgar, Nelson employed brilliant tactics, cutting through the French and Spanish lines, creating chaos. Despite being outnumbered, Nelson's fleet won a decisive victory. Tragically, Nelson was fatally shot during the battle, but his legacy endured. Trafalgar not only destroyed Napoleon's hopes of invading Britain, but also ensured British naval dominance for the next century. This battle is still remembered in the UK, with monuments like Nelson's Column celebrating his heroism. The Battle of Tsushima in 1905 marked a turning point in naval history. During the Russo-Japanese War, Japan shocked the world by defeating Russia's Baltic fleet in a dramatic battle. This wasn't just a clash of two fleets, it was a battle between old and new naval powers. Using modern battleships, superior training, and more advanced tactics, Japan completely annihilated the Russian fleet. This victory signaled Japan's arrival as a global naval power and marked the first time an Asian nation had defeated a European power in modern warfare. It also highlighted the shift from coal-powered ships to the era of more advanced naval technology. During World War I, the largest naval battle was fought in the North Sea, the Battle of Jutland. It was the only major fleet action of the war, with British and German dreadnoughts clashing in a brutal fight. While the battle itself was indecisive, it played a critical role in the war's naval strategy. The German fleet inflicted heavy damage on the British, but they were unable to break the British naval blockade. For the remainder of the war, the German fleet was largely kept in port, unable to challenge British control of the seas. Jutland may not have had a clear victor, but it ensured that the Royal Navy continued to dominate the waters. The Pacific theater of World War II saw one of the most critical naval battles in history, the Battle of Midway in 1942. After the devastating attack on Pearl Harbor, the U.S. Navy was in dire need of a victory. Thanks to intercepted Japanese communications, the U.S. knew when and where the Japanese fleet would strike. In a dramatic reversal, the U.S. ambushed the Japanese fleet, sinking 4 of their aircraft carriers. This victory crippled Japanese naval power and shifted the balance of power in the Pacific. Midway was the turning point in the Pacific War, leading to Allied victories that would eventually bring Japan to surrender. Finally, we come to the largest naval battle in history, Leyte Gulf in 1944. As the Allies pushed towards Japan, they needed to secure the Philippines. Japan sent almost everything they had left in a desperate attempt to stop the American invasion. But it wasn't enough. The Allied forces, particularly the U.S. Navy, overwhelmed the Japanese fleet. Japan's naval power was effectively destroyed, leaving them unable to defend their empire. Leyte Gulf not only ensured the liberation of the Philippines, but also marked the end of Japan's ability to wage war on the sea. From ancient galleys to modern carriers, these 10 naval battles didn't just change the outcome of wars, they changed the course of history. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about the fascinating world of ships and sailors, hit that subscribe button and join us for more incredible stories from the high seas